Harvey here, and thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. In today's video, I'm gonna be answering some of your questions that you have sent in to me, so thank you so much for writing. If you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click the subscribe button below. I would love to see you here all the time. And if you're interested in studying with me privately, please be sure to visit my website at madeleineharvey.com. I will leave the link in the description of today's video below for you. So, my friend Darrius Miles writes, "Hey, your videos are amazing. I was wondering if you could help me with a problem I'm having as a growing artist and performer. I sing mostly pop and pop rock, and I want to add lots of power and edge to my tone. Please help." Okay, thank you so much, Darrius, for writing in, and thank you so much for calling these videos amazing. They were made with love just for you. Yes, there's one particular sound that immediately pops into my mind that gives you both edge and power. But before we talk about what that sound is, I just want to go ahead and say, when talking about pop and rock as genres, they're genres that tend to emphasize vocal extreme. They're very elevated in their energy. They're very dynamic. They're very flexible. So be sure to play with this sound that I'm going to give to you today incrementally, which means in baby steps, little by little. It's the same as, if you were going to the gym and pumping iron, right? You wouldn't curl 100 pounds right away. You would strain something. You'd hurt your joints, you'd hurt your bones. It would just hurt. The voice is the same way, incrementally. Think tiny, tiny units of sound, and then start to increase the unit of sound, like the length of the sound, the time that you're holding the sound out, okay? If you just go ahead and jump right into a song with full voice, utilizing the sound that we're gonna do today, it could potentially cause some bad habits that, if left unchecked, could translate into a vocal injury over time. So be sure to do it incrementally, little by little, okay? Just wanted to say that to start out. So adding power and edge. Now they're in essence two different things, very different things, but the sound that I'm gonna give to you today will develop both. And it's very edgy, but before we even talk about the sound, let's talk about what is edge. Emotionally, it gives your voice texture, grit, depth, soul, rootedness, groundedness, anchored into your body. It's a wonderful aspect of embellishment to add to your sound. But it's like icing. You don't want a whole cake of icing, so you don't want to overdo it with edge. It's meant to be added into the sound right in those moments. So think of it as an artistic choice, okay? So now let's get into what edge is technically. Well, it translates edge equals edge. Edge is the edge of the vocal cords. That is what you're utilizing. So take two fingers and put them right on your larynx. Right away, feel space. Downshift your energy till it almost feels hollow, completely empty inside. And we're gonna moan together like this. Ah. Go ahead and try it with me. Ready? Ah. Good. Now, what I'm hoping that you felt in that quick little moan is these three things. Space, feeling as if it's hollow. This makes sure there's no fussiness, there's no attack on the tone. The other one is the slow breath. Again, sometimes our attack with voice comes from the breath, like too much breath being shoved through a very small space. So feel the breath moving as nice and slow. And the third one is the edges of the vocal cords. So you feel them come together, not like but as feel it more of a If we were to slow it down, if we were to slow the breath down even further, we would have the vocal fry, which is That doesn't even sound human, but I love it. And what you're hearing is each oscillation of the chords because the breath is moving so slow. But those are the three things: space, slowness of the breath, and the inner edges of the chords. If you can feel all three of those coming together in a moan, you've got edge. So let's practice that in a different pitch. So we can still feel the moan, the breath going up into the face, almost skipping the throat. Go ahead and try it with me. And if you've got a really sneaky ear, you're probably hearing that right before there's like tiny, tiny little vocal fry or glottal stop. Tiny, tiny, meaning you hear before the air. Okay? It's the tiniest little before the sound. Super, super important because otherwise we get and that's fine if you want to sound that way. But if you're trying to work against a pretty sound and get into more of an edgy sound, feel the smallest little kiss of the chords. And then feel the moan, okay? Space, moan, chord equals edge. Very important. And power. Because we're keeping space, we're making sure that nothing closes off. Meaning, there's no fussiness in the neck. We're not going, and the muscles are creating collapse. When collapse happens, we can't get into the head and it's just shouting. And then the breath moving nice and slow is another really good thing. We almost skip the throat entirely and go right into the head. And then the chords coming together for that tiny little glottal kiss makes sure that the chords stay together in a nice edgy fashion, meaning they don't go like softer, heady. They stay together in a nice edgy fashion. So I would say practice with very small units of sound on a tiny little moan and take it up, take it up, take it up. Keep your fingers here as you do so. Just a really good way of letting your body know I'm watching you. And you're keeping in mind for those three things: space, which just means it feels like you're hollow. The slowness of the breath, even on the higher notes. You don't need attack. Everything moves nice and slow. And the other is the glottal kiss, or bringing the inner edges of the chords together. Good. So those three things brought together equals edge. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please be sure to send your questions in by leaving a comment on today's video. And if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up or click the subscribe button below. I would love to hear from you guys. And if you're interested in studying with me privately, well, click the link below at madeleineharvey.com. I would love to hear you sing. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you next time.